It looks like we have another stream as well. 2 English streams, but there's also the Spanish stream. Otis, papi. Otis, Horace, aka Horace, is going to be casting in Spanish. So you can head on over to his Twitch channel. I don't know who he's covering right now, but he is live and he is also, you know, in his own series. Meanwhile, here we go. We are continuing. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Cosmic Sapphire, we have the Canadian Terran player himself. He is red, representing Team Easy Dunk. It is the Riddler. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Cosmic Sapphire, we have the CranKy Duckling, hailing from the land of the Americas. He is blue. He is Dolan. And as we as we get into our second game of, second series, a massive shout out to Rooster in the chat. Thank you so much for the Twitch sub. Light doesn't sleep, he waits. Mate, I have 3 casts today. Just letting you know, I do have 3 tournaments to cast. We have the DreamHack North American qualifier in the morning, then we have DreamHack China in the afternoon, and then we have WTL in the evening. So 3 tournaments today. Wish me luck, papi, wish me luck. As the Riddler is going for a proxy 2 racks. I appreciate that he has split up his racks here, so it's going to be that much more difficult to scout. If one gets seen, the likelihood of the other being spotted is pretty low. Thankfully, back at home, Dolan isn't going for his own proxy racks. If you remember, if you were watching WTL last night, Dolan had a really rough game against Coffee, where Dolan went for proxy 3 racks against proxy 2 racks, and he just died. It was a build order win for Coffee in the end. Meanwhile, Dolan goes for an SCV scout. He confirms, okay, there is nothing here across the map. The racks is not here. It is somewhere else. I have to start preparing, and he did go for a reactor first. With this, he can pump out 2 Reapers, but there's going to be a period here where he doesn't have any units, and where the Riddler is going to have free reign. Just like that, the Riddler is going to dive on this factory, going to try and slow down its building for as long as possible. Boys are being pulled, so the factory is looking to finish up. The repairs are on point, but the Riddler, he comes back and he will get a kill on that SCV. Immediately, Dolan does dive back on it, trying to get it up and running, trying to get that Hellion out as soon as possible as he's buying time for these Reapers. And oh god, it takes so long for them to come out. Another SCV will fall. So far, 2 SCVs being killed here for the Riddler. He did delay the factory a little bit, but we have a bunker at the ramp. We do have 2 Reapers now for Dolan. We do have a Hellion on the way. Dolan should be able to... oh god. He should be able to defend from here. He has held on for now. And he forces the Riddler to transition. Factory is on the way back at home. And their axes are being floated over. The Riddler still has quite a lot of firepower, don't get me wrong, and there is a world where if Dolan is out of position, the Riddler can go into the main base and he can get into the mineral line, but again, the Riddler has to be careful. He cannot pull the trigger too early. Just like this, I appreciate it. He makes 1 more Reaper and now he has high ground vision just to make sure he has eyes on where the army is. And just like that, the Dolan moves out and the Riddler could move in. Oh, he doesn't go for it in the end. It looks like Dolan is going to be able to get the first volley, the first Hellion shot off, chasing this all the way back. A couple of zoning KDA charges are going to cover the retreat here for the Riddler as Dolan tries to cut him off. Oh, but the Riddler backs up, and from here he can go into the mineral line, but at the same time, his own mineral line is exposed. Here we go, the Reapers go in. At the same time, the Hellions are waiting. Oh, they get another volley off here. The Riddler's trying to fight his way back into his own main, will lose a Reaper. Meanwhile, back at home, the Cyclone is only halfway done. Again, this main base is still looking quite vulnerable. Unfortunately, the Hellions just can't really get in. At least not until this depot goes down. It's already at half HP, but with the completion of this Cyclone, the Riddler should be fine. Does hold on as Dolan made another volley, another wave of Reapers. He wants to dive in. And he will. Can he focus down the Cyclone? It looks like he cannot. The defense position is just a little bit too good. The Riddler does defend, and Dolan is forced to back off. Interesting. We do have a landed Rax here back at home. More Reapers? Oh my god. Jesus, how many Reapers do we have for Dolan? We have 8 Reapers. My oh my. I don't know if we need that many, but okay, sure. He really wants to break in. And as the Riddler is getting ready for mech, he's going for Magfield accelerators to wind us back a little bit against Practice X. The Riddler was making nothing but tanks and cyclones back then. And so with the power of all these Reapers, it looks like that depot is going to go down. Was that worth it? That cost him 2 Hellions and a Reaper. Oof. This is another Reaper in the retreat. Meanwhile, back at home, Dolan doing his best to clean up this Rax. Looks like we had a little bit of landed Viking harass as well. 2 SCVs go down, but Dolan's able to clean everything else up. He's actually a little bit behind when it comes to that worker count. A little bit though. At least Dolan does have his natural on location. The Riddler still has to land his own. He's actually going straight into a third. I don't blame him. Like, the Riddler, because of his 2-Rax opener, he has been stuck in his main base, and he is going to be behind when it comes to his overall active bases as he's long distance mining. So going into a faster CC is a great way to kind of make up for that. Meanwhile, Dolan going for his own third as well. Oh, as he catches a Cyclone. Can he get a second? Oh my god. Something that should not be happening. Dolan doesn't just get 1. He doesn't just get 2. He gets 3 Cyclones just before Magfield finishes. Essentially, Magfield is a wasted upgrade right now because looking at the units tab, we don't have any Cyclones left. At the same time, though, we have another wave of Reapers getting into the main base. 5 more SCVs go down. This is getting a little bit out of hand. I'm really concerned here for Dolan. It started with the Viking harass. It continues with this Reaper harass. Like, Dolan is down quite a bit in workers. So a bit of a give and take. Dolan catches little Cyclones. Riddler gets SCVs. But there's a third TC here, and I mean, Dolan, he will eventually catch up as he moves out across the map. He does have the army advantage, quite a large army advantage. He has 2 Ravens, so does the Riddler, to be fair. But because the Riddler was losing so many of his Cyclones earlier, like, I do think that the Ravens are going to benefit Dolan a little bit more in this scenario. But we'll see. We'll see how good these interference matrices are going to be. As Dolan's just waiting for another wave of reinforcements. We see double engineer waves and 2 more Raxes behind this, so Dolan is playing Biotank. We see a scan. He does see the defensive position with the bunker here. I don't know if it's the wisest choice to push on in. Just see just in range of the bunker. Forces a salvage. Go. Here we go, and he only just forces that 1 salvage. He could even get an SCV here on the left-hand side. Reaper sneaks into the main base to distract the main army. At the same time, in comes Dolan. We see the double disable. We see the auto turrets thrown down as well. Riddler, his reaction is a little bit too slow. And as a result, he's going to be losing everything here on the low ground. There is 1 tank on the ramp, and it looks like the tank is barely going to survive and barely hold on. No, never mind. Dolan just overwhelms, gets a little bit too much damage done. He will eventually be forced back, but 12, 13 SCVs. He even saves the Cyclone. And this is dangerous because the Riddler losing Cyclones early on, losing tanks early on, like, he's supposed to snowball over time. That's like the advantage of going into mech like this, but he just can't really do it. As behind this is going to double Star Pro production. He's committing hard into mass Vikings right now to take control of the sky. Dolan recognizes this, so he just lands his Vikings of his own. And where are the tanks? They're non-existent, mate. Dolan maintaining control of the low ground forces the Riddler to pull the boys. And just give it up. He is landing his own 3rd TC, don't get me wrong, and he's going for a bit of a surround here. The Vikings are going to land, and with this surround, the Riddler will eventually clean this up. But again, like, these are losses that Dolan could afford. I was worried about his worker count earlier, but nah, not anymore, papi. Up to 58 SCVs, even lands the Vikings. Oh my god, just abusing these freshly thrown down mules. And after all said and done, sure, Dolan was trading out a lot of his army, but, you know, he has the economy to rebuild. 1-1 is on the horizon. He's throwing down his armory to immediately get into 2-2 as soon as these upgrades finish up. Even landing his, or getting his 4th CC on location. he knows that because the Riddler has been losing so many tanks, like there isn't really any counter-attacking or pushing power available to him. The one thing he can do is make use of these Vikings, so like maybe some landed Viking harass, like in the main or in the natural or in some kind of mineral line. That is definitely possible, and I do worry a little bit here for Dolan as he does go for the scan. Like, I don't know, he's playing a little bit too close to the sun. Like, what is the plan here? He does disable one tank, sure. Oh god, I don't know if this is the wisest move though. Boys are being pulled. Marines are going to rock up finally here, but yeah, Dolan is going to throw away a lot of his tanks. I think he thought he was further ahead than he was. Not the best trade. Was it worth it though? Because he did kill a lot of Vikings. Looking at the units lost tab, 9 Vikings have gone down this game. That air superiority that the Riddler used to have, technically he still has it with 3 Vikings technically, but it's nowhere near as large. I just worry because I don't know if it's worth trading gas for minerals. Like, we did lose 2 tanks in that push, so I do worry that again Dolan's getting a little bit too over eager. You know, he needs to calm down a little bit. So do have a little bit of a run by here on the left hand side. He's able to slip on into the natural base. Dolan does recognize this. Unfortunately, he doesn't really have too much in position. The reinforcements are here in time, though, to stim and focus down said Hellions. Cool. Meanwhile, a massive shout out to Whoopi Goldzerg in the chat. Thank you so much for subscribing for 8 months in a row with Twitch Prime. Thank you, puppy. Thank you so much for the support. Oh boy. Gracias. Gracias. As we're back into the DreamHack season. 4 SCVs went down. Dolan's still far ahead in that economy, by the way, despite losing those workers, just getting ready to push in once again. I do worry though, because again, this is a pretty entrenched position. We have 4 tanks, we have all these Vikings. We threw away our Raven earlier as well, so Dolan, like, there's no ability to really disable to bust through and just dive in. But we do have the ability to drop. The Vikings aren't really reading this correctly here as the drop is going into the main base. The Vikings are more concerned with protecting these tanks instead. And this double drop is going to get in, and this can get damage done. We've got 1-1, we've got stim, we've got combat shields. Every single Viking is going to be forced back. That does leave this position a little bit vulnerable. There's not that much anti-air. Here we go. He goes for a massive drop on top of the tanks. Oh, and this may be the moment he's been looking for. There we go. The target fire is on point. Every single tank is going to go down. The Riddler had to respond to the drop with his own Vikings. There was no other way to go about it. He just didn't have enough supply to keep up with the production of Dolan. 26 SCVs, losing almost every worker here at the third base, losing workers in the main. The Riddler holds on, but for how much longer? He's trying to get a 4th base here on location. Dolan has options. He can continue to try and break this position, or he can rotate around instead. The Riddler, he is spreading himself thin right now. I don't blame him. He has to, but oh god, that just makes his position that much weaker. We see another scan confirming the tank count. Unfortunately, these tanks of the Riddler are just a little bit out of position. They're too far back. He cannot even cover his own 3rd. Have a couple more tanks coming in. The Vikings flirting with the idea of landing. I don't know about this, puppy. We have a double drop being set up here, coming in for a full surround. Dolan, he's going for it. He unsieges. And it collapses once again on top of these tanks. Oh, there are just too many Marauders, too many Marines. The Riddler, he has nothing left. He's got a single tank. Soon to be 0 tanks. Oof. Vikings forced to land once again within range of the tanks of Dolan. He takes down the 3rd, takes down the natural. GG gets called, and Dolan will take the 1st game. Oof. Let's go. GG, mate. Not gonna lie, I had some PTSD at the start of the game. I had some PTSD seeing that Dolan was getting proxy 2 racks. I was like, no, not again, Poppy, not again. I've been there before last night, and I was worried that we were gonna see like some kind of weird repeat, despite the fact that Dolan didn't go for his own proxy racks. But thankfully Dolan defended quite well against the proxy, and yeah, he's able to maintain his control of that game. He had like a questionable move out at a certain point where he did overextend with, if you recall, with his Ravens at that third base. I do think that was a little bit overeager. But outside of that, very solid indeed. So, and he will be up 1-0 in this series. And now we get ready for game number 2, as game number 2 will be on Moondance. Here we go. You can hear the beeps. We are loading on in. Meanwhile, we are getting a couple of other updates on the bracket. Ooh, Cognite did 2-1 Sir Robin. Sir Robin is another name I haven't seen in a long time. I think he used to be on Sloth Esports back in the day. God, it's been so long. It's been oh so long. But here we go. We are getting to game numero 2. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Moondance, we have the Canadian Terran himself, currently down in the series, but not out. Representing Clan Easy Dunk, it is the Riddler. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Moondance, we have the CranKy Duckling himself, currently leading this series. He only needs automas one more to move on to the next round. It is Dolan. The Danger Dolan himself, looking quite good in that first game. And here in game number 2, the Riddler this time opting not to send out any SCVs, not to go for a proxy. Thank God. Catching up in the chat, I see Chileno Singaporean as well. Wow, burning the morning oils light. Yes, yes. I went to bed at like, I think it was like 2 or 3 a.m. last night. And I woke up at 6:30 this morning. Woke up at 6:30, papi. Ay, ay, ay. So I haven't slept that much, and I'm in the middle of breakfast as well. I just boiled some water and added it to noodles. You know, that caster life. After this, I'm probably gonna maybe do some laundry and then try and get some sleep before DreamHack China. It's a big day. It's a big week. I gotta pace myself. Oh. But speaking of pacing yourself, we just see that Dolan does go for the SCV scout across the map. He doesn't go all the way into the main base, but confirms that there is a Rax on top of the ramp, so he knows that there, for the most part, there shouldn't be a proxy here, unless it was some kind of like weird fake out. Everything is looking good. Now my question is there a world out there where the Riddler doesn't play mech? I mean, Moondance is a good map for it, to be fair. That's what we were talking about last series, right? Where, because Moondance does have the pocket third, you can expand and be quite greedy on this map. You can take a faster third and you can take a faster fourth. And because of all these ramps, like, it can be quite defensible. Or you do have quite a defensive advantage here as well. So it can be really difficult to break. We did see that the Riddler was able to break Practice X last series on this map, but hitting a certain timing, you know, as Practice X was being a little bit too greedy. We'll see if Dolan can do something similar. Oh. As we do have some pretty standard openers here, we do have, again, a more defensive style by the Riddler, prioritizing his gases at the low ground, going for his Cyclone first. And because of all these gases, I wouldn't be surprised if the Riddler once again goes for a fast backfield accelerators. He did try and do that last game, if you recall, but he lost every single Cyclone before he was able to make use of it. Feels bad, man. As Dolan goes towards the low ground, he even scouts the gas being taken as well. Again, that's one of the big signs that this should be mech. We have that 1-1-1 opener. Dolan waiting in the tall grass here for his opponent. The Riddler is a little bit too wise for that. He's a little bit too a little bit too on the nose there. He does back off, but at the same time, you're the Dolan. He wants that Cyclone. Up, up, up. And it looks like he will get it. The first Cyclone of the Riddler does go down. We do have a second Cyclone, but oh my god, it just gets dived upon again. thankfully barely manages to survive, and it looks like he should be okay. Maybe I spoke too soon. As the second Cyclone goes down, and there are no units left here for the Riddler. Uh-oh. Oh, the SCVs are lining up! No! Oh my god, the Cyclone, the Hellion volleys go off. 4 workers go down, 5 workers, 6 workers. Can we get 7? Oh, it's not even. GG gets called before he can even get into the mid game, get into the early game even. Dolan just snowballs out of control, takes on every single Cyclone, gets into the main base. The wall was not a wall. And Dolan, just like that, takes the series 2-0. GG. Just messaging Dolan. GG, well played. Congratulations to Dolan. Really just, again, showcasing his skill, showcasing his dominance in the TvT matchup, able to take down the Riddler in a quick and easy fashion. And now, he moves on to the next round, to the round of 16, if I'm not mistaken. Exclamation mark be in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the bracket. Yes, the round of 16 where he has a Protoss player ready and waiting. It is going to be Dolan versus Ricci.